Hey everyone, welcome to DEVLOG 3. Newcomers to the channel are also welcome. So it's been about 6 months since I started working on this game, and I'd like to tell you how it's been so far. So the game's first prototype started out last year around July, which I did so that I could have an idea for what kind of game I wanted to make, or what kind of FPS game I was going to make. I left a link in the description if you want to see the full video, but here are a few seconds of what it looked like when I made it at the time. So after having a prototype being made, I decided to start planning on the actual game now. You know, things like how the player should move, or the story for the game, which has been the major driver in developing this game so far.
A little later.
However, even after making the prototype, I had no real idea of what kind of FPS game this should be, which led me to having the next following months planning for the game continuously. But I did have two guiding golden rules, which had been that: 1, to start development in January 2023 no matter what, and 2, to make a fleshed out demo first. And soon enough, by January, I had most of what I wanted, which was enough to start development right away. I deleted the old prototype and started a fresh new project, and it's been 6 months ever since. However, due to having to keep up with university, development has been kind of slow. But progress has been there and development has been going on smoothly, despite all the challenges I face. And I'm super excited to share with you what I've done so far in the game. So the first thing I started with was the player movement. I didn't want it to be super complex like the parkour movement in Mirror's Edge.
Get out of there, Payne. Oh, you're there. Get out now.
Or Carson, because good luck making good levels with all that maneuvering happening around you. I just wanted something simple to the movement, plus a few extra moves to add some variety. And at the end of it, I ended up choosing running, crouching, jumping, dashing, and vertical wall running. I think this is simple enough to give some variety in how the game will be played. And I haven't made this like a final decision in what kind of moves I'll be as the moves that will be added, especially vertical wall running and dashing. So expect some changes, or probably not, because I think I'm satisfied with them as they are. And of course, I haven't finished fixing certain issues like the jumping, which feels off. It's got this weird Superman jumping that's uncontrollable. 1 minute it's jumping normal, next minute it do a small jump. And then there's the crouching that won't stay crouching when you're under a very tiny area that you can't stand in. Plus the dashing that kind of feels like that. But they ain't broken, and I can't really complain about how they are right now, though I want to change them. But I'll handle them later on. Otherwise, if you've watched the first devlog where the movement was showcased, it's basically the same as it is now. Nothing really has changed to it. Okay, so when I started the player's combat at first, it wasn't anything special. I just made something quick and easy while I was focusing on adding the player's movement in general. So I was like, as long as it could shoot something, everything was fine. It was in March when I really got down into really making the combat system work. And by the end of the month, I was done making a system, aside from a few bugs here and there. It was pretty much like any other first-person shooter. In addition, I also made a health and armor system, which I added to the player, and also an ammo system, and 4 different weapons that the player could cycle from. Plus a few throwable items, which was typically the grenades at first. So by then I had something working, plus some AI, so that I could have some test out and tryouts here and there. And I was able to make the game actually playable for once, for the first time. Then I lost motivation and then gave up on the game entirely. No, I'm just kidding, that's not what really happened. Alright, exams were coming up, and true, I did lose some motivation for the game. Because the current combat system at the time felt just like every other game. And I wanted something different. Something like, I don't know, Ultra Kill with its health mechanic. Or Max Payne with its bullet time.
I've done them enough.
Or Doki Doki Literature Club and its mechanic. I wanted to make a mechanic that was unique to the game and could also fit within the game's story as well. It was at this point that I almost started to develop feature creep. And I say almost because I eventually found what I was looking for. So around the end of May and the beginning of June, I started adding a magic system for the player so that I could limit some player abilities like the dashing and the bullet time mechanics to a certain amount of mana. But holy lord, I have no idea what circuits actually started working in my brain at that moment, because I finally found out what I wanted to do with the weapon system. So I scrapped out every single ammo system I made in the game at first, and made every single weapon or throwable rely on mana as a resource. So now, each weapon or throwable no longer needs ammo for you to keep on firing. Instead, each of the weapons you use in the game have a certain number of bullets per magazine that you can fire, and every time you reload, a certain amount of mana is consumed to refuel the magazine. I then made it in a way that the weapon consumption is different according to which weapon you're reloading, and also instead of reloading the same amount of mana constantly, It now reloads according to how many bullets are needed to refill the magazine again. I know that may have sounded a bit confusing for some people, but I'm sure everyone will catch on the moment they play the game. For the throwables, it's pretty much the same mode like any other spell. You throw something and consume a certain amount of mana. And for the throwables, I plan to add, aside from the grenades, knives and arrows. This is not final. I may change my mind later. And I know I've said all these things, but I have really nothing to present to you guys because I'm still debating on what other things you can throw aside from grenades. But I don't think this will last long. And I also haven't decided on what to do with the mana management, since it's now a reliable resource for you to continue handling the game's combat. But for now, I just set it to regenerate after a while. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention that I did make new weapon models that actually look like weapons now. I'm sure you've been seeing them for a while, because the old ones won't really make in me as much. Like seriously, the old machine gun model I made at first was literally me copying from the Halo assault rifle, and see how that turned out.
Is this how you get your sick kicks?
What? It's just an ordinary crabby. Oh my goodness!
But anyway, moving on from that, we have the pistol, an assault rifle, a rifle, and a sniper rifle. Keep in mind, these are not final, and expect changes to be happening over time. Especially for the pistol, because it doesn't scream use me like the Halo Magnum. Or this one as well.
Banana Magnum. Banagnum. Hey bro, you want a banana? Psych, that ain't no banana!
Alright, now I haven't been able to really flesh out the UI and make it look good. I mean, let me not even talk about the menus.
Is this how you get your sick?
And that's only because my priority has been set on making the other systems, particularly the combat and player movement, work. But I did add a compass, the ammo counter that you can see at the top left, and the mana bar, the health bar, and the armor bar. So on other news, I have been working on the tone shader, which has made some significant improvements. It now can apply normal maps and other modifications. So now I have more options on how I want my art style to look like. My plan was to have interactable objects like crates or barrels, and other things like your weapons, enemies, and so on be tonified, while the environmental landscapes and structures and buildings will have a realistic look, which I thought was a unique idea.
It's a total fabrication.
Never seen before in any other game until I saw this video and lost my cool.
You're probably not going to believe me, but everything that you're seeing in this video, this game, this prototype that I'm playing here today, was made by one man over the course of the last 3 years.
Alright, I didn't really lose my cool. I pretty much saw this coming.
It's totally made up. Pure fiction.
Considering the times now, I'm sure there are other games I don't know which has done this kind of style. But regardless, I'm still going to do this because after seeing this video, I know the style that I was actually going for looks pretty cool. And then for any other changes to visual effects, this is when I'm actually starting to make them in the game. Since most of the 6 months has been, like I've said before, me making systems for the player. I mean, speaking of even adding systems, I even added sound to the game. So every time I playtest anything, it just sounds like And also, to be real with you guys, I'm not so familiar with shaders and visual effects in Unity, so most of what you've seen on screen is basically me just following tutorials on YouTube. But I'm getting there, and working on the visuals has been a nice change of pace, aside from all the coding I've been doing the last few months. And then later on, I also plan to focus on making the AI better, and also having actual levels and many other things which you'll probably see in the next few months as development is still going on. And I know I should have mentioned the story much sooner, but the thing is I'm still working on the full story for the game, and I didn't want to say anything at first in this video, but I later decided against it, and I thought I'd just give you a summary of what this game is about and what exactly drives the direction for where all the ideas I add for the game are coming from. So in the game, you play as a soldier in a virtual world with many others, and your objectives were to maintain that same virtual world by destroying any bugs or computer viruses that try to mess with the system, and any other requirements which the world masters in the game are supposed to give you. But suddenly you develop superpowers, which is not supposed to happen in that virtual world. You see, there are rules there, and one of the big rules is that should anything happen in a case where you develop supernatural abilities, you get treated as an abomination in that world.
Stay back! Stay back! You're not turning me into one of those things! I'll blow your brains out! Get away from me!
So after the discovery is made, you get apprehended, and like every other who manifests powers as well, is taken for immediate disposal. But on the way, you get rescued by one of the world masters, and he convinces you to work with him to destroy the entire system. The virtual world in which you will be playing is called PROGNET, and the 3 instructions that the master gives you are to crash the system, evolve and get stronger, and obliterate anything that gets in your way. So we've pretty much come to the end of the video. I want to apologize for the bad audio. I couldn't afford to get a good mic, but I tried to do the best I can with what I had. However, if regardless of the fact you're still able to enjoy the video, it would be so helpful if you hit the like button. And if you want to see more of my videos and don't want to miss out on the next one, you can hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out. I understand my updates are kind of slow here because of school and all, but I have opened up a page on itch.io where I will start posting devlogs on how the game has been going. Hopefully I'll be doing that every week, at least once every week, so that you are not left out completely in the dark for so long before the next video actually comes out. Otherwise, if you have any other questions you want to ask, or any other things related to the game you want to say, you can do so in the comments below. I'll be sure to read them and respond accordingly. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all next time.